talk about at a basic bare minimum, what we have is single mode is, think of a sniper rifle, multi-mode is a shotgun. So what we have here is multi-mode can go up to about 1,000 feet, a little bit longer. 1,300 is the actual length, and single mode can go as far as you need it to go. So why use one over the other? Well, single mode for many, many years, the fiber was less expensive, but the electronics were significantly more. With multi-mode, the electronics were less, but the fiber was a little bit more. How I like to describe it now is that essentially it's 3 plus 9 equals 12 versus 6 plus 6 equals 12. Both of them are very much almost the same price when you take a look at the complete system of the electronics, the fiber, and your SFP. So when you put all those together, they're almost apples to apples, but there's a lot of electronics in the residential AV space that focus more on multimodal electronics. So it's the electronics that are going to dictate what fiber to run. So always be aware of that. So getting a little bit more in on single mode versus multimode. So again, distances, if you need to go longer, single mode is what you need. Multi-mode is for shorter distances. You'll notice the colors. So single mode is going to be yellow. Multi-mode is going to be aqua. That is a standard. It is something that is very, very nice. If you come across an existing project and you're trying to figure out what that fiber is, and you can't seem to see the print legend on it, you can look at it and figure out if it's multi-mode or single mode. And then based off of the connectors, find out whether or not it's LC, SC, or APC. This is a chart that I like to describe as if you have eaten at Panda Express, you can do a fiber system. Choose one from column A, one from column B, one from column C. So is it going to be multi-mode or single mode? Do you need direct burial? Do you need micro distribution? Do you need LC or SC connections? And you just basically choose one from each of those, and you'll turn around and be able to design a system. And we'll walk through the fiber types here in a moment. So what makes Clearline different? Well, this is where I'm going to stop sharing and show you the actual product up close here. So what we have here is this is a typical piece of fiber from Clearline. What we have, this is our 12 strand, and this here is traditional fiber in a 12 strand. So if I take a piece of this traditional fiber and I bend it, I just broke that. That piece of fiber is no longer able to be used. With our product, we have both of these are the exact same size down at the core level. So they are the exact same product, but notice how ours is much smaller. So smaller conduit fill when you're running inside of conduit. And we don't have to jacket the fiber and then rejacket the fiber again to try and keep strength because our fiber is already stronger. So traditional fiber has a pull strength of 20 pounds. Copper has a pull strength of 35 pounds. Clearline SSF has a pull strength of 225 pounds. We are 200 times the pull strength and 10,000 times the bend radius. So why that's important? So going back to my simplex fiber, single strand, and because it's aqua, we know that this is multi-mode. So with traditional fiber, you saw how easy that broke. I can tie ours in a knot, and you'll notice it's still going. I can rip the jacket off the fiber, and it's still not broken. So one of the big advantages that we have is we use a glass polymer production method. We have a 3M patented technology that we coat on the glass. Why that's important is we don't need to do the alcohol wipes. We don't have to do the polishing. We don't have to go through the whole crazy production to turn around and terminate the fiber. Now you'll see this yellow on here. This is the Kevlar. The main important thing is always, always, always pull from the Kevlar and the fiber. So when you decide that you're going to go out and you're going to pull this through a house or through a conduit or on your project, strip back about 2 feet and pull from the Kevlar. Reason being is we have a plastic jacket and we have a glass fiber on the inside. Well, glass inside a plastic, there's no resistance there. So you're going to stretch out that jacket if you pull it from that jacket, and you're going to run into an issue. So with our fiber, I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you exactly the basics of terminating our fiber, because our whole little standard saying that you're going to see over and over and over is stronger, safer, faster. And the faster comes down to the termination. So what I have here is my precision wheel cleaver. I have my tri-hole stripper, my Kevlar shears, and on the other end of the fiber for demo purposes, I have a VFL with my other side terminated. So to terminate the fiber, the first thing I do is I just put on the barrel onto the fiber. I then take my tri-hole stripper. That just almost falls completely off. I separate the Kevlar from the fiber. So now if you can see, there's a little blue coating on here. Well, that blue coating is a soft peel acrylite. And I just use my thumb and forefingers. I don't need to use any tools. And so now I've stripped off that acrylite. Now I open up my cleaver and I'll show you here. You can see that there are some numbers on there. And I know that for this connector, I want to be at 28 millimeters to the jacket. So I put the jacket into the stripper, and I'm trying to do this backwards to make it easier for you to see. I drop the cleaver, I cleave that. Now that I have my perfectly cut piece of fiber, I take my connector. Now in the connector, you'll be able to see that little amber colored window. There's a slide in there that locks the fiber in. So as I mate up the fiber into that window, you can see a little bit of light in there, and I push forward till that light goes out. I lock this down. I get the Kevlar in there for strain relief. I slide on the barrel. I give it a couple twists. This is where I take my Kevlar shears. I trim that off, tighten that down, slide that on. So it's just that easy to turn around and do a termination. And when I do these at full speed, it's about 30 to 45 seconds per, way easier than a category cable. I can't do category cables since I haven't done them in about 3 years. And now that I am doing fiber all the time, it's just that easy. So let me get back to our presentation here.
Great demo, by the way. That was awesome. Guys, if you have any questions on cleaving or any of what you just saw there, go ahead and hit us on Q&A. Great job, Stephen.
Perfect. So what we do differently from the traditional fiber that I showed you earlier here is instead of having to build up that outside jacket and then keep building it up, we have put on there that special proprietary polymer coating, which makes that strength, that 10,000 times the strength. So what we do, again, everything comes down to that 250 micron hard acrylite coating, and we're down to the 125. So if it's single mode, it's 9 microns. If it's multi-mode, it's 50 microns. Everything, again, is industry standard. So our connectors work on traditional fiber connectors work on our glass. So everything we do is industry standard. No need to polish and clean after the cleaver because we have that coating that is above the actual core of the glass. So we don't have to worry about it because you're not actually touching that connection, or you're not actually touching the glass, which that's where our specific coating comes in. Oh, so again, this is where 225 pounds versus Cat 6. Minimum bend radius, again, when I bend this is a 3mm jacket. We have a 2.2 millimeter bend, so this is still going to be able to not break the fiber. Because it's safer, because of our coating, it's not going to get into your skin like traditional fiber does. And again, backwards compatible with everything. So as we start talking about all the different types of fiber, so simplex is a single strand of fiber. So again, simplex comes in single mode, simplex comes in multi-mode. So that is just a single strand of fiber. Don't ever run simplex, only run duplex. Duplex is something that at a bare minimum you want, and there's a couple reasons for that. The main one is you're dealing with an SFP. We have TX and RX. You have send and receive. So 2 strands of fiber at a bare minimum is what you need. Now, if you happen upon a job, or maybe you ran just a single fiber at some point, they do make transceivers, which is an SFP that does send and receive over 1 strand of fiber. They are more expensive, but they are out there, and so you're not out of luck. Duplex is by far and away the most popular fiber that we sell. It's 37 cents a foot for any of your riser rated. It's about 44 cents for plenum. Then we get into micro distribution. So micro distribution, we make from 2 strands all the way up to 144 strands. I call this our $12 million cable because we were able to make a 144 strand that fit in a 1-inch conduit for the Venetian Hotel in Vegas. And it's now brought us a little over $12 million in sales to them, because we're now the global fiber supplier for the Sands Corporation. So that's my favorite cable because it makes us a lot of money. From micro distribution, we get into breakout. For people that maybe want more than 2 strands of fiber, but want to pull 1 cable, we have breakout. This is 4 individually jacketed fibers, then jacketed again. So a little bit thicker of a cable. But with fiber, all of the cost comes in the jacketing, not from the fiber itself. So anytime you have more jacketing involved, the cost of the fiber is going to be greater. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at what fiber you need. 2 strands of the duplex is about 1/3 less than the breakout here, but sometimes people want to pull 1 cable. Now we're on to my absolute favorite cable. I live in Texas, and in Texas we have lots of critters that run around and chew on things. This is a rugged micro distribution. It's designed with a water blocking aramid yarns and rodent resistant strands on the inside so that none of the critters can chew through it. It's got a jacket designed to sit in water. This is what you want to run for conduit. When you're running in conduit, you don't want to run, going down to our armored corrugated steel. This is a pain to run in conduit. This is something that is very, very difficult. A lot of times I get guys that want to overbuild a system and want to turn around and make it a little bit stronger. And we'll specify this for conduit. This is not fun to run in conduit. The rugged micro is every bit as strong. Then we get into our aluminum interlocking armor. We can do from 2 strands to 144 strands. This is basically fiber in a conduit. You spool it out, tack it up, and away you go. We have our tactical, which is more of like a microphone cable. This is what we use for any of the rental and staging or pro audio. If you've been to Elton John show at the Coliseum or Britney Spears at Planet Hollywood, this is what we've got running behind the scenes there. We have fiber and power. So we have a 2-strand fiber that also has an 18.2. Again, the copper is going to be your distance limitation. So if you're needing this for power, you have to make sure that you have a proper power supply on the other side. I have seen guys use fiber to media converter boxes and they need power and they run one of these, but they'll find themselves with a power supply that by the time that it gets down over 1,500 feet, it'll be at 48 volts, so you still can get PoE. And then we have our bundled fiber and category cables. That's a 2+2. That's a Cat6, 2 Cat6E and 2 fibers. And that comes on a 500-foot spool where everything else comes on 1,000-foot spools. Now, with that being said, any length of any fiber we cut. So if you have a job where you have a 780-foot run of direct burial, you don't need to buy a full 1,000 feet. We will cut that down for you. So we do custom cuts on all of the different products that we make. So I always encourage guys to get the fiber for specialty jobs such as conduit, direct burial, armored. Have those cut to length so that you don't waste money in having a 200-foot spool of something that you won't ever use again. So just make sure that you know that we can do all custom cuts on all lengths. We also do custom pre-made and custom cables. So if you need a 555-foot breakout cable with 2 LCs and 2 SCs, we'll gladly put that together for you. So this is the chart, and you'll be getting all of this from Gary when at the end of the day. This has all of the different fibers and all the different cables that we have. And if you look at that last column, we have a fiber that wasn't on our other sheet, and this is our new DMARC cable. So this is what, if you are tasked with running from the street into the house for AT&T, Spectrum, whoever it is, this is the fiber cable that you want. This is a single mode duplex cable, but it has 1 strand of traditional fiber and 1 strand of SSF fiber. Why that's important is this is used so that if the ISP shows up and they're going to terminate it, they can use the traditional fiber that they're used to. If you terminate it, you can use the SSF side. But be aware that if you're terminating a DMARC, most of the time what those fiber installers are putting on there is what is referred to as an APC connector, and we'll talk about that here next. So we have 3 main types of connectors. You're going to pretty much only see 2 of these in the AV field. LC, or the little connector as I call it, is what you're going to use 9 out of 10 times. That is what's used for networking. And again, much like the yellow is single mode, aqua is multi-mode. Aqua connectors are for multi-mode and blue connectors are for single mode. So when looking at the connectors, you'll be able to know what type of fiber, if it's single mode or multi-mode. Now, that APC connector that I talked about just a moment ago is that green guy that says, ask about me. What that is we are replacing all of that old coax that's out there. And so all of the RF distribution that's being done by the fiber providers is now using what's referred to as an angled polish connector, or an APC. The only time that we're going to run into that is in RF distribution from the street to the house, or if you're working on a hotel or a large apartment complex where you're doing a dish or a direct TV distribution system. So again, my information will be at the end. If you ever run across something and you're trying to figure out how to convert it over, what to put on there, reach out to me. So one of the nice things about Clearline is we make all the products. So we have all of the patch cables, we have all of the fan out kits, all of the breakout kits. our new Uniboot LC to LC connectors that are just little small dual connected cables that a lot of guys like for a real clean look. We do all of the bulk fiber. So all the fiber we talked about, all of the connectors. We've got a bunch of cool installation parts and pieces that I'll be talking about a little bit. This one here is specifically done for our active optical cable I'll talk about in a moment, so that it protects the head. So we have all of those. We have rack mounts, we have wall mounts, we have exterior termination boxes for outside. So if you're doing a demarc and you want to make sure that it's waterproof, you'll have your little box here, and you've got your connectors inside, and you've got your lacing tray. So something like this is a whole whopping $25, but will make your job so much easier. So termination kits. So the termination kit I'm using today is our basic kit. It's normally $4.99. By attending this, they're doing a special for $3.99 today. So take advantage of that. We don't ever discount anything. This is something that all of the Snap locals are doing. We have testing kits. We have inspection that I'm about to show you. So the most important thing that I try and get across to different guys is the fact that when you look at that fiber is the diameter of a single human hair. It's a little bit smaller. What a single speck of dust can do to the fiber. So I took a brand new connector out of my pack. Let me get that. I put it on this little scope, and that is how dirty the fiber connector is. And that's even with the dust cap on it. So this little piece has traveled 13,000 miles to get to us, depending on which coast you're on. And a single speck of dust on this makes a huge difference. Well, this is a product called the One Click. This is $39. They make them for LCs and they make them for SCs. This is the most important tool that you can buy. What this does is I take my connector, I made it up with the One Click. I give it a couple clicks. This will do 800 clicks in the life of this guy. So by cleaning that, that's what I like to see. So you can see how unbelievably clean that was. So that has now turned around and made that nice and clean. Well, the other aspect of that is you don't want to just clean one side, which is the connector. When you have your wall mount box and you have your connections, this is where you put the actual One Click in. And I'm going to clean that bulkhead before I turn around and I plug in my fiber into that connector. I'm going to make sure that that's nice and clean. So that is something that's very important. So we sell all the cleaning equipment. And last, but certainly not least, my personal favorite product. So we have active optical cables, but what we do that is radically different. So as we know, heat is the biggest killer of electronics. So being able to make sure that we don't have heat issues, we have a hard metal shell that dissipates heat. You'll see that this says source on it. We have both source and display sides. And one of the really big important thing about this is where most of the fiber active optical cables on the market are referred to as a hybrid cable. So there's 4 transmission legs for the video. And what most companies do is will use first plastic fiber, because for the strength and bending it, traditional fiber would break. So they do 3 runs of plastic fiber, and then they cheat. And that 4th leg, they turn around and use copper. Well, by doing that, you now put EMI and RFI into the video transmission. Well, one of the big advantages of being able to work with fiber and do fiber AOC cables is the fact that you don't have RFI and EMI. So we use 4 strands of our fiber inside of this cable. The copper is in there just for the power for the chipset that resides in each of these heads. Now, the advantage is you can cut that head off if this cable ever needs to be changed to maybe HDMI goes away, maybe it's now 16K, whatever may be, you can cut that head off, put an LC or an SC connector on, and then put whatever fiber baling is out on the market. Well, this cable you're not going to need to change for a long time because it's an 8K 2.1 120 cable. So with being 120 hertz, right now, if you have an Xbox, that's 4K 120. This cable is going to be able to do that, where all the other cables on the market are 8K 60, 4K 60, we're 8K 120. If you are a CPU gamer running the new NVIDIA 3080 processor and you're just a gearhead, you're going to love this cable because it's going to be able to pass all the speeds and feeds that you need. I'm working with EA Sports currently. They absolutely love this cable because they told me about 17 milliseconds faster in their first-person shooter games. I'm not a gamer. I didn't quite realize how exciting that was until they got excited and told me that I needed to understand a little bit better. The other thing about this that I think is really cool, I worked out at Apple for a period of time when I was spending time with a control systems company. And one of the things that we saw in the integrated conference rooms were the people that were setting up these rooms all had their big computers plugged in, hardline directly into the laptop, and it would fire up the projector and the screen when they'd plug in because they had that full 5-volt hot plug. Well, somebody would come into a meeting with a MacBook Air running on battery power, using a dongle for the HDMI, and it wouldn't fire up that screen because it didn't have the ability to make that full 5 volts. So what we did and what we include in every box is an inline power injector to go on the display side. So you can use this on the display side so that now, no matter what gets plugged in, whether it's a iPad, a Surface, a Asus tablet, whatever it may be, it's going to be able to just see the signal and you don't need to worry about that power. So we include these in the box. Now our active optical cables we make in 5 meter to 40 meter, and the 5 meter is $148. The 40 meter is $308. The real advantage of this is you have to put in an HDMI cable today for your displays that you're putting in. Well, you also want to pre-wire for fiber. By putting this cable in, you're taking care of the HDMI cable for today, and you're taking care of the pre-wire fiber for tomorrow. So the cable itself is a really good value because it takes care of both with a single pull. We do rack enclosures, wall enclosures, all the adapter plates, all the little inserts. And with that, this is my contact information. So if you have any questions or anything, reach out to me. This is my email, phone number. I'm out and about. I cover the US, so I'm all over the place. So if you need anything, if you are one person of an organization and you want to have a more in-depth discussion about fiber, you have a system design, you want some hands-on training, let me know. I can schedule this for you. And it's pretty much the easiest thing. I see we've got a couple questions. Yes, our termination kit will work on traditional fiber. You may have to adjust the cleaver a little bit, but we have a picture or a video online about how to do that, to adjust a cleaver to SSF and then vice versa. So we do have that. Ivor of Houston, welcome, sir. Had issues with the 10 gig GBIX versus the 1 gig. I'm not quite sure. You do. The big thing is these little guys, we don't make these, but they come in 10, 100, 1 gig, and 10 gig. The important thing to remember is a 1 gig switch generally has a 10 gig backplane. So you want to make sure that you use 10 gig between the switches. So I will reach out to you, Ivor, since I got all your info and we've chatted before. So I'll figure out what you're asking and get you squared away.
I know Stephen knows generally half of the attendees. I don't know how, because you truly are all over the place. No, great presentation as always, guys. You know, get a feel for this. Have you guys had experience? Really interested to see if you've got more of designing questions, or you wanted to see the termination, you know, in person and see how easy it is. Yes, the kit is available for $3.99 at all the SnapAV local stores. And I want to give a shout out to live on the floor to Jason Reed and his crew and the team, Volutone in San Diego. Welcome, guys. Hey, text me a question. Is anybody on the floor over there wanted to talk fiber? We're here for a few minutes, ready and willing, man. So open back up the floor. And
We do have one other question here, and this is one I get all the time. So you can buy, you can't make your own custom HDMI cables, but what you can do is run our fiber and then buy any of the different fiber balins that are on the market to convert that over to be a fiber balin over. They have AV Pro is one company that makes them. Snap has their own fiber balun as well that would plug into an SC connector. The AV Pro runs over 2 LC connectors. They have a new one that is any day now. Not as soon as I would like it to be, but you can't actually make your own custom cables because there's 23 connections in that head, 4 for video and the other 19 or all the other little different items. The fiber and the HDMI cables are multi-mode, and that is multi-mode, and it is also OM2 because of the distance. We're at 131 feet. OM2 is basically up to 225 feet. Whatever the house. Yes. Okay. So we have a question. Could I use fiber optic instead of Cat6A to go from a switch with fiber optic coming into the switch to a modem in a house? Yes, you can do that. So you're actually going to eliminate all of your latency, and it's going to be much better. And what I would use if it's going to be exposed to water would be our rugged micro distribution for that. Its jacket is designed to sit in water. And you can send me an email and I'll send you back, you know, parts, pieces, and everything you need there. The termination kit itself is normally $4.99. Today it is $3.99. So it's $100 off.
Yep.
Or 20%, depending on which way you like to think of things.
Thanks, Mike. Get with me if you are a Volutone customer, or we'll get you appropriated if it's AllNet or wherever you're going. But everybody's got stock, so. Clean on the questions, and we are 15 minutes. You know, we got another 15 minutes if anybody needs, you know. Yeah, good stuff. Anybody in San Diego or Scottsdale or any of our number of other locations? Houston, as a matter of fact.
Kenny Tower, man, Mr. Boise. One of my old customers from 20 years ago. Kenny, you just need to reach out to Carl up there in Bellevue. I'm sure you talk with him. If you have any questions, let me know. I love when I see guys that I dealt with 20 years ago on here. The plenum cable is outdoor rated and made with water resistant materials, can be used in conduit. So we have indoor, outdoor rated fiber. If you're using it in conduit and it's really going to be sitting in water for an extended period of time, I use the rugged. But if push comes to shove and you have just, you know, the a plenum duplex, you can pull it in there. I just always like to make sure that this one we use. Can I multiplex data and video over fiber? A half-inch conduit? Oh yeah, you could absolutely do data, video, and audio over fiber. If you want to reach out to me, I can walk you through that. You can do that over a single strand of fiber if you can believe it. There is a black box for everything, but what you're looking to do, I think, would be really easily done using a basic fiber baling on that end. Promotional pricing on the kit.
Pricing on the kit, I think 2 weeks.
Okay.
That 14 days, Jose, we'll make sure you get one at that price. Okay, bud, since you attended, no problem.
Ivor, is rugged better than armored? Similar in the sense that direct burial is great. That's the armored. If you're not running it in conduit, the rugged is basically designed to be an easy pull through conduit. So we built that to make everybody's installation easier. So I basically direct burial, no conduit, rugged in conduit. And Richard, I think Gary, since he's the man who takes care of all new customers, will
I'm just writing him, telling me to send me his info. Richard, I'll take care of you. When you do that, it does come to my desk, so I'll take care of you, bud.
And Jose, no, there's no limit, you know. I think we've got one guy up in the Northeast at MRI who's buying 6 today from a previous conversation. So
very nice.
We like to get you all up to speed and make sure that your techs are all trained up. One thing I did not mention, clearlinefiber.com. That is where we have all of our videos. We have a YouTube channel. We have videos in Spanish. We have videos in Mandarin because we do a bunch of work over in Macau. We have termination videos. We have videos that walk you through our testers. Basically, a video for everything. We spent the first 3 months of lockdown last year going through redoing all of our videos, and it was really nice because now we have a lot of people that have been able to see it and get everything done that they need to so that they can walk through. I have guys that will watch our termination video while they're on site right before doing it and are able to terminate all their fiber. So you should be.
Yep, we did one. Stephen, you set us up for the SnapAV locals. Who was that, Jose? Yeah, I did a Spanish exclusive webinar with Clearline about 4 months ago, which is on my archive page. In fact, when I post this video tonight, it'll be on the our YouTube channel, and you'll see all the archive, including that Clearline Spanish version. Awesome.
Yep. Yeah. And if any of you happen to be in Las Vegas, we have a Las Vegas office where every once in a while, if you really need to, we'll do a training for you and get you up to speed when I'm not on the road traveling about coming to your town. So if you want a hands-on training or something else, let me know, because I'm pretty much in a hotel like I am now every week. So
you are relentless. No, I thank you so much for taking the time. I thought it was a great session today. Yeah. Over 50 people today, over 100 this morning. So if you look at it in that context, for the SnapAV locals and 100 people learning fiber today, just having that exposure is everything. And it's confidence. You saw how calm, cool, collected Stephen Ricks can be when he has got live fiber in his hands, terminating with no issues whatsoever. No, it just shows that how easy it is, and that's what we have been doing. You've been championing not only Clearline for all of us SnapAV locals. If ever there was a hole in inventory, like you were talking about with MRI, you got them on board. Now we have product.
Yep.
Snap is joining the party as well. We know this is the future, so it's so important. We're going to continue to have you in front of our dealers, whether we do this live or continue to get you in whatever hotel room I can on a consistent basis throughout the year and ongoing from there. But guys, thank you so much. I don't have anything further other than I'm going to wrap this up, render the video, get an email I'll compose for you guys and send it back out to you. I really do impress upon the fact that show it to your team. Jose, thank you so much again. Thank you for spending the time. Each and every week I do these, guys. Coming up next week, I got a special webinar. Two of the biggest vendors in the country, right? I've got a Sonos/Lutron event, right? Very interesting. How can I cram all that into 30 minutes? Well, I'm going to make Lutron use their Picos and talk and do audio, not just distribution, but audio automation, be a kind of a fun little event for an hour. That's next Wednesday, 2 sessions. Check my event section for all the stuff coming down the pike. A lot of stuff from SnapAV. And we got panel season coming up with Sony. I got Samsung as well. So control, networking, all the categories are represented here. And what I like to do is stay in touch with you guys with the follow-ups and so forth. So you really do feel like you're part of a conversation that the SnapAV locals are having. What does that mean? That means you guys are using distribution. You are using the products that are on the shelves. You're exposed to a lot of different products. We know that. And that's why, you know, when Stephen relates his experiences and what you might already have out there in the field and how to problem solve or spec out something brand new. But I think that that's what is unique about our conversations every single week with our trainings and our vendors that we bring in. Stephen, any last words there for our audience?
Just know that I'm here and our team's here to help you out. And, you know, the biggest thing is once you get that first job under your belt, it's amazing how many more that you'll find fiber uses for. So again, just let us know how us and the Snap team can help you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I am Gary from Volutone, representing all the SnapAV local pro stores. That's MRI, Custom Plus, and of course, AllNet back east. Thank you guys so much. Be safe out there. Tune in next week. Jason, Crude, San Diego, thanks for getting us live on the floor there. And also welcome Salt Lake City and Denver. Welcome aboard, guys. We will see you guys next week. Stephen, one of my best friends, man. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you
for all your hard work, guys. Really appreciate it. Look for your inboxes.